now that I've cleansed my candle, I'm going to dress my candle. Now I have my Lucid and Wild blend of money herbs, and I have my Call Money oil. I make these myself. I've been making these for years. I'm gonna draw this to you. How you drip it on there doesn't really matter. You can drop it on your fingers and then on your candle, just however you want to do it. Don't overthink anything. Don't make it harder than it has to be. So draw it to you. You're going to anoint your candle. Now, I like to point it at me and pull upwards. And while I'm doing this, I'm blessing it. I'm thinking of all the things I'm drawing to me. So much money, big money. Whenever you're doing money spells, it's important to have, like, I don't want to say a specific idea in mind, but money is money. So if you say, I want more money, that could be $5, that could be 5 cents, you know, that could be $500. Try to be specific in terms of, you know, kind of the ballpark amount that you're trying to attract to yourself. And make sure it's something that you're comfortable with and it's not going to dysregulate your nervous system, because you won't be able to track anything that you're afraid of. So while I'm doing this, I'm thinking I am attracting financial stability in my life. And then as I'm doing that, I know and think about the kinds of things that would make me feel financially stable. Okay? Now, as far as the herbs go, you can just sprinkle it on there like that. Or you can put them down like this on the tray. And you can roll it towards you. Whenever you're calling something to you, you pull it towards you. So you can roll it towards you. You don't need to like heavily dress this. Sometimes people go a little overboard on the dressing, and that can make your candle flames insane, okay? You're not breading chicken, okay? Like, just because you use more herbs doesn't mean your spell's gonna be stronger. Sometimes it just means you're gonna burn your house down. So, you know, be careful. Don't do crazy stuff. Okay, so this is an example of dressing a candle when you're drawing something to you. You have pulled that energy up towards you. You have rolled the herbs towards you, or you've dressed it towards you. You've blessed and consecrated your herbs. Even before you put your herbs on, you might say, I bless and consecrate these herbs for the intents and purposes of drawing financial stability and financial prosperity into my life. I have X amount of money. I have X bills paid, you know, all those things. I have so much business, so much clients coming in. Steady clientele, that kind of thing, depending on what you're drawing towards you. If you're drawing love or something towards you, you might say, you know, I draw love towards me. I am attracting loving energy, loving attention, and that you're doing this while you're drawing that oil up towards you. And then when you roll those herbs towards you, my partner's coming near me, my partner's coming towards me. Or maybe it's protection. I call that protection near. I call that protection close to me. I draw it close to me. I draw it in here. Everyone is safe here. Everyone is protected here. I'm free from harm. That kind of thing, okay? And see, with the protection thing, this is what I want to kind of pinpoint here. If you're doing a protection spell, you're drawing it towards you. If you're doing a banishing spell, you're sending something away. So a lot of people want to do protection and banishing in the same way. They're not technically the same thing. Can you see the difference? You're sending something away when you're banishing yourself, or banishing energy, or releasing something, or removing something. That is sending something away. If you're drawing protection towards you, if you're calling protection near you, you are drawing something towards you. So make sure that you understand that distinction when you're doing your spell work. Now, I'm going to be using a protection oil, but it's also for banishing and cleansing. Remember, it's all in the intent. So multiple herbs have multiple intentions that you can use them for. Depending on how you're performing your spell work dictates what kind of outcome you're going to have. So with this, I'm using a protection oil, but I'm also using it for the intents and purposes of banishing and cleansing. And some of these herbs in here are both for protection, drawing protection in, and for sending something away from you. So when you're banishing or you're releasing something, the opposite is usually true. I'm going to show you something, because depending on who you follow or what your path is, how you banish something might vary. In general, most things tell you to start at the center of your candle and work your way up to send something away. I send negative energy away. I send all harm that's being sent my way away from me. And you're pointing, notice how I'm pointing this candle away from me. I'm sending it away. It doesn't have a place here. I'm protected from this energy, okay? And now you might go back, anoint the center again, and this time you're gonna draw it downward. I'm banishing everything bad, everything that's not mine, everything that's not mine to heal or feel. I release it, I remove it from my system. And I'll see, I meant to point it away when I was doing that. I remove it from me, I send it away. Okay? So in general, most people will say, you do center up, send away, center down, into the ground. Or some people say back to the center. I personally do it this way: center up, center down, to send something away, okay? And usually it's always pointed away from me whenever I'm doing it, whatever direction, okay? So now with this candle, you can sprinkle with protection herbs. These are protection herbs that I make in-house for my spell work and my oils. You can sprinkle it on there like that, or send it away from you, put it on the opposite side, and roll away. I dress and bless this candle and with the intents and purposes of sending negativity and banishing energy that does not belong to me, that is sent to harm me from my life. Again, we're not breading chicken, so don't worry about it being coated from head to toe. And that is how you would set up your protection candle or banishing something away from you. If you're working with a container candle, that can be a little complicated depending on what kind it is, but you know, 7 days are pretty popular in magical ritual. So here I have a psychic boost candle, and I have my psychic awareness third eye ritual candle oil. And so put this right here for a second, pull it upwards so you can see. I have already pre-dressed this candle, so I'm not going to drill holes into it because I've already like gone through the process of pre-dressing it. But if you wanted to, you could easily take your sharp object, like your nail or maybe even a screwdriver or something, and stick like 1, 2, 3 holes. And then you would take like a oil dropper such as this one and drop oil into that candle in the holes that you drilled. Or let's say we're gonna put a few drops in here for psychic boost. If you haven't gotten your hands on this oil, you definitely should. It's a favorite of mine. It smells amazing, but I also just really like working with this oil anytime I'm doing psychic readings for other people. So I've put some drops of oil in here, and I'm going to just rub it around with my finger, and I'm imagining this circular motion is just opening up those psychic channels. I'm receiving messages. I'm deciphering those messages. Depending on what you're addressing the candle for, if it's a road opener, if it's a money candle, if it's a love candle, you would just kind of speak those kinds of intentions over that candle as you're anointing it. I'm anointing this candle with the intents and purposes of drawing in more blah, blah, blah. Drawing in love, drawing in prosperity, removing those blockages. If you're doing some removal, I recommend doing a counterclockwise roll with your finger through it. If you're doing something towards you, just rub it clockwise towards you and point that candle towards you. And again, if you're sending something away, point it away from you, do a counterclockwise, that kind of thing. So that's how I would dress a candle that does not come out of the container. So you can see it has a light coating of oil. You don't want to stick too much candle oil in here. You don't want to stick too much oil, and then it messes up the burn of the candle. You can add herbs if there's not already a few herbs in here. But I wouldn't recommend adding too many. It can really mess up how the candle burns. It could stop the candle from burning entirely, or it can engulf it in flames, and now you've got a fire hazard. And people are like, oh, that's more power. Or it's a fire hazard and your container breaks and now you can't finish your spell. So sometimes less is more. Be intentional with what you do, even if you only have a little, and you'll still get the job done. So this is what I would do for a container candle. Now for candles that are like pull-out candles, or say votive candles, or even tea light candles, you have to burn those kinds of candles into another container. So here's my favorite thing about tea light candles. I'm sure most people are aware of this, but just in case, from the off chance you're not, here's the tea light candle. Now, looks pretty basic, right? Well, wrong. You can put anything on the top of this candle. White is an all-purpose color in general. I mean, it is. You can definitely use white for anything, but I say if you've got the candle on hand with the right color, use the right color if you've got it. If not, you don't have to go out and you know, go out of your way to make something happen. Just use what you have. That's my favorite thing about hoodoo, is it's a use what you have kind of spiritual practice. So say you want to draw protection. You're gonna write protection with this tea light, okay? And then you can use protection oil. What is it, Nana, right? Shh, 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 shh. Use a protection oil. I'm gonna just move this closer because I'm holding my baby. Dress it like so. Stop, Lana. She's fascinated with scissors. Okay. I'm gonna rub that protection oil all around that candle. And look, this is my favorite thing about tea lights. Boop, pops out. So now I can dress the entire candle. Now with tea lights and things like that and votives, they can be a little hazardous if you get too much herb on them. So I just stick a few herbs at the bottom like that. Mind my own business. Got my herbal allies in place. Stick it back in here. And then I burn it just like that. You can also, if you wanted to sprinkle it on the top, just be a little careful with that. You don't want to engulf your tea light. Tea lights are very delicate anyway. Half the time they don't want to burn properly as is. So I wouldn't do the most with a tea light candle. But that's a good way to dress either a tea light or a votive. If you have a votive candle, you have to put those in a holder when you burn them or they melt everywhere. So if you're going to use those, remember you can dress them before you put them in the container. You can dress a few, add a few little herbs to the bottom, or if you have tea lights, they come in their own little candle holders. So just pop them out, dress it, pop it back in, you know. You can even draw runes or sigils on the bottom of these aluminum cups. It's perfect for that. Write yourself your petition on the back of this, or do a sigil on the back of this, and then burn your candle that way. Even if you don't have an oil, if all you have is a tea light, you know, you can work magic just like that. I'm briefly going to show you a figure candle because this is not in the best condition. When you're working with figure candles, which are candles shaped like particular figures, depending on what kind of candle it is will determine the kind of, you know, way that you would dress it or anoint it. In general, if you're working with thoughts or obsession, control, that kind of thing, you want to focus your spell work on the top of the head, okay? On the head. You can even, if you have a skull candle, dig a hole into the head area, add a few, dress it with oil or herbs or whatever. Or you can just write, you know, you might write control with your pen or whatever you're using to carve your candle. Or say you want someone to stop talking about you. You could carve their mouth, put an X over their mouth. Or if you don't like, you know, the way someone's, you know, using their eyes to be lustful, or using their eyes to harm you, or they're freaking stalking you on social media or something like that, you can carve the eyes, put X's over the eyes or the mouth or whatever. In general, so the chest area and the genitals, the chest area I like to say is best for working with love magic, that kind of thing, where the heart is. If you're doing sexual magic, that would be like the genital areas. And when you want movement, or you're trying to stop movement, you want to bind areas that are, you know, involved in movement. So the arms and the feet. If you're wanting someone to be completely obsessed and attached with you or to you, you would bind them with thread. Bind that figure candles together with thread, or even two candles side by side, bind it together. And that would initiate a stop in movement, a halting. If you want someone to go away from you, to send them away from you, focus your magic on the legs to move them away. You could say go away, carve it on the legs, go away, and then write their name and date of birth. And then you would dress it in an oil and maybe something that's like inflammatory to get, you know, moving, like cinnamon and pepper and things like that. And maybe you want to have someone run to you, you might also do the same thing, and then, you know, use love herbs and things like that. So really and truly what you're doing determines the kind of dressing that you do. So always keep that in mind. Magic is meant to be this flexible practice that really is based on the practitioner and what you're doing. So those are some tips that I wanted to give you. And I hope you found this helpful.